I suppose, other than Singapore, is there anything sort of else you want to talk about? So you said the France game is going to be...
Well, by the time we play France, we'll know if we're going through or if we have to beat France to get through.
Okay, so in other words, if you haven't won the game, it's going to be a real pressure match, and that's not going to help that game.
There's no way you want to go on versus a team which is better than you already. We know we have to have a good game to beat them.
And you were saying it was on you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. You guys are really strong on the nuke though, aren't you?
We had a suspicion, really, I've had a suspicion that we're good on nuke in Australia and New Zealand. We've got a really good record on nuke, and we generally consider it our best map, but it doesn't seem to translate very well against European teams, and we actually kind of confirmed that when we played TIG today. We weren't very good on nuke.
Because European teams are awesome at nuke.
Yeah, it seems like that. Yeah.
So they just get better and better.
But the funny thing is, Inferno, which we're not very good at in Australia, was we were actually really strong on versus them, so...
Okay, well, so
it's hard to say.
Sort of changing the subject, the Source 1.6. So, I mean, there's been a bit of discussion about what you guys are going to do after this event. I mean, what is the plan?
I don't want to stop playing 1.6 really. Source would be good. I guess there's a lot of competition, and like I don't think I wouldn't really be into it unless I was playing with these guys. So I'd say a bit of both really would be good for me.
Bit of both.
Obviously, I'll play Source competitively after this event. I've stated that, so...
But would you still play 1.6 if it was still there?
If there was competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look at it this way, like, if we play Source, we're practically giving up the chance to compete internationally. And while 40 teams at Exane for Source was pretty cool, it's nothing compared to what, 1.6 or Counter-Strike used to be before it was fragmented. And I know it will never be the same again because of consoles and how it's all just been watered down, but we didn't think we were coming to WCG this year. Like,
it was a shock, wasn't it?
But it just goes to show anything can happen. And to be fair, if we could get a chance to go this year, who's to say what might happen next year? Even though 1.6 in New Zealand might not grow much further, or it might even decrease, it doesn't just say that a team might not end up going next year as well. Because, I mean, you have to admit yourself, a year ago you would have been saying, no way is a 1.6 team going next year. We're not
I think I did say this year that there was not going to be a 1.6 team going. And I'll be honest, the reason we said that is we knew we weren't going to have the funds to send it. So, I mean, it's worth being quite open, I suppose sometimes I'm too straight up, but it just worked out that we effectively found funding to make it happen between, you guys and us. And it's not like we had a sponsor come save us, we sort of just pulled it all together. And, yeah.
We're so lucky.
It is lucky.
Like pretty stressful runnings of CS.
Oh, look, it's an amazing story. I think it's great, and it's great to be here. It's just a pity it was such short notice, but let's be honest, the airline tickets just dropped so much that it made it an achievable goal.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
It is, yeah. So, going back to that 1.6 and Source thing, I don't know, I look back at you guys and you did slam Source a bit how it wasn't a competitive game. I have seen you guys talk about how Source is just not up to it, but now you're talking about playing it, I don't sort of see how that works.
I think we've all sort of played Source before.
Yeah, but not competitively. I'll be honest, even I have heard you say that Source, yeah, I know, but you've had some Source before saying it's not as good as 1.6.
Well, it's not as
good
as 1.6.
I'll say that now, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to play it non-competitive.
The reason we want to play it is because we want to have fun.
Okay.
And competition.
And in New Zealand, to be a realist, we're not going to travel overseas a lot.
Yeah.
And if we want to have fun in New Zealand, we have to play the game that people are playing.
True.
We can't just fucking play slut teams all day. So
you can't be the elitists.
Well, we can't be the elitists. We'll be the elitists if we play Source. We'll come back and give everyone a ripping.
This year you didn't win the 1.6 versus Source game. You lost.
Our first time playing Source. give us a couple of months, or give us a couple of weeks, or a couple of days, and we'll get there.
No, it would take a while to get good, but I think because of our experience in 1.6, we would be.
There's definitely some competition in Source, but that's just stokes the fire. That's part of the fun is becoming the best.
That's what makes it.
And I think this team just has such a good attitude towards the game, and we just have such good chemistry. if we decided to go to Source, I'm quite confident we would become the best team in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, no, like, hey, I'm not doubting. I'm just. It's good to hear that.
But it goes back. You're still back at the question. I mean, 1.6 for Source, it doesn't matter. I mean, both games are going to be both games, and really, it depends what we're after. If we're after events like this, I don't think Source is going to happen.
So do you think WCG will ever change to Source?
No, never, ever.
We hope so.
Well, it would be great for us because it'd be easier for you to justify a source, assuming that you could raise the funds in the first place. But I mean, there's less, trouble raising the minimum amount of teams. But we talked to the guys from Romania. They had 240 teams online in their qualifier.
Wow.
And then 46 on land playing 1.6.
That's amazing.
And Romania has a population of 12 million. But I don't know why Australia and New Zealand play Source and Europe plays 1.6. I don't. Whether it's demographics or whether it's income or God knows, but there's something there, and I think the reality is that 1.6, if you're looking for a competitive aspect, 1.6 will always be there until Valve or someone makes a game that's better than 1.6, which hasn't come out in 10 years.
And sort of, I suppose, more of a general topic there. It's like all the new games seem to be heading further away from that.
Let's not even talk about Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, I mean, that's the sort of thing I was talking about. I mean, they just seem to be heading away from something that's professional, capable to very casual.
A bit arcadey, a bit console.
It's a disappointment because it means that, that's actually killing a lot of community. It's killing lots of communities because there's nothing to progress to. It's a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, we look at Team Sidewinder. They don't know what they're playing.
Well, there's nothing for them to play.
Exactly. Well, they're a Battlefield clan that decided to become a multi-gaming team, who then decided they might play Left 4 Dead or might play, whatever came along. Team Fortress 2 for a while and had different, units. But it just shows that gaming's changed, and it's about making money now. And 1.6 was obviously probably about making money, but it was a mod in the first instance, and it became its own beast, and now it is what it is. So I don't think things will ever be the same. I think things have changed. And
do you think that's going to be a bad thing for competitive gaming? Because if there isn't titles like the 1.6, the StarCrafts, the Warcrafts, those stable games that have years of lifetime in them, you're not going to ever get competitive gaming that can be seen as a sport.
Yeah. All the esports is a bit fragmented. Yeah. I mean, there is a few constant StarCraft and Counter-Strike. I think they'll still be around in a long
But you know what I mean, though, if they don't get titles like those, because you look at StarCraft 2, sounds a great game, but just the more you hear about it, the land's got to be online and all that sort of stuff. You start to think, well, hold on, these games are heading away from when they're going to be suitable for professional play.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
there's an opportunity there for a developer to.
Yeah, maybe. But it's a lot of money, though.
So the money isn't in it for the developers, is it?
Mm. Yeah. Okay. So I suppose getting back onto other topics. So, any sort of final words you want to sort of shout out, or anything else that you want to say to anybody before we sort of close up?
Bruce likes to eat a lot of BK.
He did actually. So on the way here, we got delayed in Hong Kong, so that was interesting. You ate BK 3 times?
No, I don't have what you guys were the ones that had BK. We got a free voucher for 75 Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, I see you eating BK.
You had 2 burgers.
Yeah, but I didn't get it the first time.
Bruce BK Lodge.
Ferris has been pretty quiet in this interview, and he's been pretty vocal while he's been here.
But he's always quiet in interviews. He's a bit
He
camera
saves
shy.
it for the game.
It's just too humble. It's just too humble.
You can tell when we're playing well because Ferris is sort of vocal at the end of the round.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, okay. You're a bit of a shit talker, are you?
Oh, no, not at all.
He's a bit of a comedian.
Oh, comedian.
I don't want to put any pressure on our guys, but I think this is our time to shine. I know we say it every year, but realistically,